All right, People versus Politics, Fort Collins Conversation, take one.
Our founders never intended to have two parties running the country.
No.
They intended to have a much more open system and participatory system. Granted, they had some exclusions, and we have taken care of those exclusions with amendments. But now we should be promoting that same ideal where we do participate and we do encourage people to participate.
100%. And not be cynical, not force them into a cynical vote with a little trickery and all that stuff. Yeah, I totally agree. I have a lot of friends who want to thwart the other side, so they go down and register as the opposite party that they have share values with, in order to pick the worst possible candidate. And anytime a system turns a voter into a cynical voter, I think we all lose.
A part of our stability is based on how strong our middle class is. When we don't deal with federal issues that are existential, we risk the very foundation of this experiment that we've all been involved in. And so it doesn't matter whether you're on the right or left. What really matters is that we come together. Well, we just figured it all out.
We did, Ken.
Come on, Rob, move it along, buddy. I'm hungry. That's the other thing that's so bizarre. I've had people I've known for 30 years. I mean, I know people who can't even have Thanksgiving dinner together because they voted for different presidential candidates. People who I've known for 30 years who refused to talk to me because of a vote that I took or didn't take.
It's illogical, but I'd like to work against that every day that I can to help people remember what a friendship is, what a family is, what we share in common, how to be a good neighbor. That's some of what I focus on in there.
Well, what strikes me about what you just said is when we don't have a binary situation where it's right or wrong, we reach common ground. Well, when we have four choices, who's going to say, "Oh, I can't believe that was your number 3. That was only my number 2. How you're a terrible person for." And that system of having 4 choices as opposed to 2, and in a system where we've learned more from all 4 candidates, and where instead of having just a position, you're pro-life, you're pro-choice, you're pro-immigration, you're against immigration, and if we don't have all those binaries, but we have more of the sort of nuanced positions, I think we will be able to agree as a country a lot easier.
I think that's an excellent point, and probably maybe a little bit of an overlooked one in the kerfluffle of does ranked choice work or how are you going to do the machines. That point is really salient, right? Because those 4 candidates will be able to make a more nuanced position. I think that's a good one.
I can't think of any examples of dysfunction in Congress, but I'll try.
Look at him. He's starting to shake. Look at his eyes. They're twisting.
Several years ago, we had a redistricting commission, and the insiders were objecting to that at the time. And then we had the ballot initiative that allowed independent voters to vote in primaries, and the insiders objected to that. And the sky has not fallen. That's the amazing thing.
I watched the redistricting process, and people kept calling me saying, "Jenny, you have to go down there and testify and fight against this." It's like, fight against it? I already voted for it, right? I trusted that process too.
Because the more Americans feel like they have some skin in the game, the more they're going to participate, the more they're going to care, the more informed they'll become, and frankly, it makes candidates stronger.
Yeah, I felt that way when I was arguing in favor of the national popular vote, but it was so hard to get people to imagine a world where your state border didn't matter in a federal election. But I only imagine being a Republican in California, where your vote really never matters. You
or
feel
Colorado.
Disenfranchised, or Colorado. Or if you're a Democrat in Texas, you feel like your vote doesn't matter. No American should ever feel like their vote doesn't matter.
You know, if I start talking about this, I'm going to need Prozac or something.
I know. Ken's going to have a heart attack. I always say every dollar raised in politics almost, as you know, goes to advertising. And these are master marketers who are convincing us that if you take one vote and I take another, we necessarily hate each other.
Well, I think every time I went to the supermarket was a town hall meeting. I couldn't get a gallon of milk in less than an hour half the time. But people would say to me, all you do in DC is fight. And they don't see the 90% of the work that gets done. All they see is the issue that can be run on either conservative cable news or liberal cable news. And so much does get done, but those fringe players make sure that the narrative is a divisive narrative.
I was interviewed by the New York Times for something that was happening here in Fort Collins, and she said, "You're the Democrat mayor of Fort Collins." I said, "No, I'm the mayor of Fort Collins." She said, "No, you're the she wanted the storyline to be Democrat versus Democrat. I know that's what she wanted. She did it correctly, but boy, did she want to put that label on there to make sure her story was going to be the Democrat mayor of Fort Collins did this, but the Democrats really want this." I need to go, Bruce.
Oh, okay.
It's
Should we
almost
stop
4.
there?
We do one more question?
I'm going to filibuster this one, so be careful.
Some TV reporter interviewed me for one of my bills, and she said, "No offense, but I've never even heard of you, and you've been here 6 years." And I said, "No offense, I've never watched your TV program." I didn't know who she was. I don't own a TV. But she said, "Why are you so unnoticed in the legislature?" I said, "Because I do practical bills. I don't stand in front of a TV camera. I sit with Republicans, and honestly, I don't do things that create a lot of clickbait."
You know, I was a big advocate for trying to solve the immigration issue. And I'd talk to my friends on the left, and they would say, "Oh, we can't build a wall." And I would talk to my friends on the right, and they'd say, "Oh, we can't have amnesty." Well, if you can't get closer on those kinds of issues and do a little bit until we get to the point where we have a legal immigration system that meets our labor needs, till we have a system that respects the fact that people are living in horrible conditions in other countries, and we need to do our part as a wealthy country to either deliver financial aid or foreign aid or deliver or have some refugee program in this country, we're missing it.
And even though the dark money campaigns are run separately from the candidate campaigns, that's where the negative advertising comes in. Within your own party.
Within the own party, yeah. And members actually going in. And so how do you work with a member on a committee when last week the member was in town doing a fundraiser for your primary opponent? And so it tends to move the parties towards the extremes and not allow them to be in a position where they can solve, again, the big problems. We can argue about the social issues. We can argue about those things. But to not be able to have common ground on a lot of the very day-to-day issues, is Medicare going to survive? Is Social Security going to survive? We can't talk about that because the fringes want to fight. That's dangerous.
And I found the challenge at the legislature as a Democrat was not working with my Republican colleagues. It was if there was any light of day between my position and someone else's position within the party, that sort of was the most challenging thing to work through, right? Where they assume there's going to be 100% agreement, and when there's only 95, people really get upset. With my Republican colleagues, there's an assumption that if we can agree on 15%, everyone's celebrating.
And the most rewarding things I worked on were the bills that actually got through the House, through the Senate, signed by the President. Didn't have to put my name on them. I didn't care who got the credit. I just wanted to see these good things done. Yeah. And they were done because I had a personal relationship with a Democrat. The Democrat who I was working with on a bill came to me and said, "Pelosi's going to kill me if you don't deliver 30 votes. She is going to kill me. She does not go to the floor unless she has enough Democrats to vote for this, and we don't have enough Democrats for this." And I said, "I can do better than 30. He says, "Give me the names." I said, "Nope.
I got this."
And he had to trust me.
Yeah, that's my job.
And by one person removed, Pelosi had to trust, and they did, and we did pass it. But it was the last time she trusted me. But
it's a pleasure talking to you, Ken. And Lee, I really appreciate it. I value your wisdom and your experience. It's really important.
Well, it's nice to be back in God's country.
Well, we're glad to have you.